So while there has been like a slight drop off since you were last here, we are still performing very well and we're in a very good spot. We'll get you all caught up on that and we get into the episode. And then today with our live con, we're going to be mixing things up a little bit and we're going to be doing the Papa John's Trophy second round clash. We're up against Arsenal under 21s. I really hope they don't put out our first team side, but hey, we're just going to have to find out. Let's get into it. So one little bit to get you caught up on at the start of this episode. We have actually gone through the first two FA Cup rounds. We're not going to go through all the goals because, there are far too many and the video will be way too long if we get through that. But the first round we played Whitehawk, who are in the Isthmian Premier League. I mean, it was never really going to be a doubt that we beat them. That was a nice 4-1 victory. Have a quick look at the stats at the very least. Munro and Barbrook up front basically carried the game. Fantastic ratings for both of those. No one really showing up for Whitehawk. I mean, Grouse got the goal, so we got a slightly better rating. But yeah, it was a very dominant performance with somewhat of a second string 11. So I was very happy with that indeed. Then in the second round, we got matched up against Maidenhead, who are actually first in the Vanarama League South. They're doing very well indeed this season, but not well enough to stop us scoring 7 goals against them. We obviously did put out a bit more of a first team here. It definitely wasn't quite full strength, but 3 goals from Munro and 2 from Barbrook absolutely sealed the tie. And then there was an own goal and Achinga got one himself as well. So overall, brilliant result. I will say they did look quite dangerous on the attack. They only had 6 shots on target. I managed to score 3 of them. Well, I suppose both shots missed 3 shots at 3 of their on target shots. It's just we had a lot more of them. But yeah. So I'm just bringing this up because actually we're in the third round and that draw is today. So we're just going to hop into this. There's too many teams here. I'm just going to do a draw all teams. And we get Arsenal. That's such a weird coincidence. Because today we're going to be doing the Arsenal under 21s game in the League Cup, in the Papa John's Trophy, and then we get drawn against. I mean, I suppose it's also almost certainly going to be the end of our FA Cup journey. But I suppose going out to Arsenal is not that surprising. They are top of the Premier League by 3 points. Weird Premier League table looking at. I mean, Leeds and Watford are up in 8th and 9th. Southampton, Everton doing all right. This is a very different table. But yeah, Patrick Vieira is manager of Arsenal. They got Martin Odegaard as captain still. Absolutely fantastic player, him. Vieira has been manager since 2025. Actually, 1st of January 2025. And seems to be doing a fantastic job. Arsenal are flying this season. And this is looking quite scary for us. So we'll have to see how that goes. We might well do that in a future episode, 12th of January. Oh, we'll probably do that next episode. That's only a month away. That sounds like a good decision to me. Rearrange the Barnsley game. I have also, you might have just spotted, bought out all of our buyout clauses because we've got the money to spare. And I do feel like all of these players, Wilson, Kanabachi and Achinga, we would have ended up having to pay more than this based on if their clause had activated anyway. And we've got 4 million in the bank and a 2 million transfer budget, so why not drop like 70k to save a bit of money in the future? I actually did, while looking at clauses, I might as well mention this now. Moses Abba, I might not have mentioned him. I don't know when I mentioned him because he would have gone at the end of last season or the very beginning of this season, I suppose. When we had a little clear out, obviously Kevin O'Neill got bought by Leeds and loaned back. Moses Abba went off to 350k to Brentford. I was thinking, Moses Abba was a very good youth prospect for us, but he's never been anywhere near our first team. He's 20 years old. So I just thought, yeah, 350k, that works out pretty well for me. However, if we look at the clauses, we had a 50% of next transfer fee deal. And if we buy that out, we get 4.14 million from Brentford. He's rated at 7 to 10.5 million at the moment, which to me, for a 20-year-old with these stats, seems absolutely insanely high. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but I mean, there's a potential 4 million deal there. I'm going to sit on that for another few weeks, but I might well take him up with that. Leo Gaksh's also got a 50% sell-on clause, but I'll take the risk that he might sell for something rather than get the 11k. It's not going to make any difference whatsoever to our squad, realistically. But yeah, we've had quite a few games since we were last here, so let's get straight into the recap. So obviously in the last episode, we played Wrexham and we lost 2-1. Quite a crushing defeat that. I was very disappointed that we didn't manage to get a result there at all. So I'm going to do these recaps a little bit different, especially early on in the season. We get so many games we have to go through, and last episode, like 70% of the runtime was just like, here, look at these games that have happened already. So instead of doing that, we're going to cut these down a little bit. I'm just going to show you, the highlights, let's say. We'll go through the games one by one, but I'm not going to go through every single goal and whatnot. So first up, after the Wrexham game, we bounced back with a nice 2-0 victory over QPR. Pretty straightforward. A nice little goal from Barbrook early on, and then a Boyang penalty wrapped it up. This game, the scoreline definitely flatters us overall. The highlights were very mixed back and forth. And yeah, stats and XG are pretty close up there, as you can see. Next up, this is actually, funny enough, the first one I'm actually going to show you is a 3-2 loss to Grimsby. This game was just a little bit mad, to be honest. I did feel like we were a little unlucky to come away from this with a loss. We did have the better XG. We had the same shots on target, so we were much more accurate, more corners, more possession, by 1%, but still. Every little helps. So this one started off with an absolutely chaotic goal bouncing around at the penalty area, but luckily Griffiths managed to stab it home. Then Grimsby score an absolute worldie from Mags here. Just takes on a turn, left-footed curling effort into the far side in off the post. And then we had a little chaotic goal of ourselves again. Casanova here hits the bar and it comes back out. Munro hits it off the bar again, but that time it managed to bounce in. Grimsby equalised to go 2-2 with a nice little pass through here, a little knockdown, and he just stabbed it past our goalkeeper. And then in the 78th minute, Grimsby got what was essentially the winning goal. Nice little run by Mags, and he just runs through our entire team and managed to slot it inside the left-hand post. Pretty good game, back and forth, lots of interesting goals. It was a fun game. I'm very annoyed with the result, but at least it was sort of enjoyable. After that, we had a very decisive 4-1 victory over Peterborough United. I'm not going to go through these goals, I'll be honest. It was a penalty to start off with. Their goal was just absolutely no one decided to defend, and then it felt like every other goal was just us smashing it across the 6-yard line and someone stabbing it in. But yeah, very good win. Forest Green, even though it's only a 1-0 and it's not an impressive goal whatsoever, I need to show this because Forest Green have been our bogey team for so long, always causing us problems. They followed us up to this league, and we managed to get a pretty horrible winner against them. Keeper just comes out, makes an absolute fool of himself, and Derek Griffiths manages to just header it into the open net. So obviously we had the Whitehawk game that we've already had a quick look at. Then we had a 5-2 victory over Brighton under-23s, and Darryl Longbank was back in goal for this game, which was fantastic. But it was kind of a forced thing because I have never been so happy to have a player get injured in my squad. Ian Jardine has just picked up a fractured finger and will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. But this was actually right before this Brighton under-21s game, which was going to be Darryl Longbank's first goal back in between the sticks. So, I mean, if he'd been injured a game before, we would have had one of our grey, non-real goalkeepers playing. But, whew, this was quite fortunate. But I mean, if I was going to get this injury, this was kind of the perfect timing for it to happen. I just need to hope that Longbank's injury has fully recovered at this point. Although I will say that relief of having Longbank back between the sticks was a little bit misplaced because in the 14th minute he did just get chipped by Barrow. But I will say that's not the most embarrassing defensive thing we have going on today. Luckily, Boyang managed to get a penalty, managed to slot a penalty home soon after. And then a nice little 1-2 here. Not 1-2. But the ball ends up finding his way to Cadamartri, who just rockets it past to put us 2-1 up just before half-time. Then, quite deep into the second half, this completely aimed-us free kick. Foyo picks up inside the box and just gives it straight to their striker, who managed to equalise. We managed to get another one not long after when the ball came into O'Neill here, and he slotted it just inside the near post before securing it quite late on when Edgerton starts a little play from the back up to wing, managed to push through. The ball comes to O'Neill, who just managed to slot it far side of the goalkeeper, but pretty much bottom corner. I don't know if you class that bottom corner, but either way, a 5-2 victory and comfortably through to, well, today's game. And then obviously you might have spotted, but in that Brighton match, Nathan Hughes got injured, and it was a relatively serious injury. I think I did take a clip of it, so 1 second. Literally one game later, and Nathan Hughes is out for 3 to 4 months. I'm so glad that we went massively over the top with our recruitment on deadline day, because we would be completely screwed if not, I feel like. And after that we had, well, I was going to say a little bad run. We only won 1 of 3 games, but we did very decisively win that game, so I suppose how bad could it be? We had a 1-1 draw against Bradford. This one was pretty uneventful, realistically. There was a lot of chance in the actual game, but there's not really any good goals to go over. A 5-2 victory over Doncaster, which we were very dominant, but it was very straightforward as far as goals go. A lot of tap-ins or just nice slots inside the far post. Nothing too fancy. And then a 2-1 loss to Plymouth, which started as all of our bad performances go. I feel like in future, If our first goal in a game is a penalty from Boyang, we're probably going to end up losing because it doesn't matter what we do for the rest of the game, we're going to struggle. We absolutely dominated Plymouth here and didn't get a result, and I feel like so many of the performances where it goes that way, our only goal, if we get one, is a Boyang penalty, and we just get FM'd out of our minds for the rest of the match. But yeah, an 84th minute win at foot, Plymouth managed to secure them all 3 points there. And then obviously we've been over the 7-3 with Maidenhead. So that brings us to today's game against Arsenal's under-21s. And the under-21s, I mean, you can never really be certain how they're going to line up because you can do this. They've always obviously got the ability to chuck a couple of overage players in there, and if they decide to do that, we could be in a bit of trouble. But yeah, we'll have to see how this goes. So I'm going to go forward to match day, which is in only 3 days' time. We'll be back if anything else pops up before then, but if not, we'll go straight into the game. A fantastic bit of code in here. We're obviously playing Arsenal in the next round, which is happening in a few hours in-game. But we're doing a draw for the 3rd round ahead of time, so that's completely fine. I did notice that Arsenal are the favourites to win this, and we're the holders, so this really is a battle of the titans in this competition. But a little bit of a weird, I don't know if it's weird coded or if Cheltenham have just got incredibly stupid fans, but who do they want us to be our preferred opponent in the next round? 3rd choice, Arsenal the 21s. Literally impossible. So let's see. Let's just do this an automatic draw. I've only got 4 rounds to draw, 4 fixtures to draw even. MK Dons Northampton, Coventry against Bristol. That would have been a nice little local clash. Oh, our match, we're going to be up against Southend United or Gillingham. Oh no. Southend United, who actually, another point that I forgot, I didn't actually show you the league table. So we're going to be playing Southend United or Gillingham, and the League One table is currently us and Southend battling out at the top. We have got a game in hand and we are 2 points behind, but it's looking like it could end up being a bit of a 2-horse race with how things are going. Marcus Dackers is absolutely destroying the top scorer table again. 21 goals already this season compared to Jonathan Lecco with 13 in 2nd place. If we get past Arsenal, I think we're going to be playing up against them. Gillingham are struggling in League 2. So I very much doubt they're going to overcome them. So yeah, it looks like somewhat of a Papa John's grudge match. So despite this being a relatively tight match, I mean, we are favourites according to the odds, but then Arsenal are favourites to the competition, so that doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. The pre-match advice, actually, I don't know where to get that screen now. I think we've gone past it. But it does say that the Arsenal under-21s are pretty terrible defensively, but are also quite good attacking. So very similar to us, this could end up being like a 5-5 draw or something. But yeah, we are lining up. We're definitely not a first team, but I still think a relatively strong lineup. We've got Onbang starting in goal. Jardini's back as an option. I've got him on the bench just on the off chance, but I do think we'll be okay with Onbang. Aliu left back with Nathan Hughes injured. Edgerton and O'Connor centre back with Wintersgill out on the right. Foyo defensive mid. Wing and Pert Harris as our Mazzalas. Pert Harris is not a first choice, I don't think, but it's definitely more than good enough for what we need in this game. Rig making a rare appearance at Enganche. He has been kicking up. He has been a little bit unhappy that he hasn't got enough playing time so far, so I figured this is a good time to slot him in, especially when Achinga's on a heavy workload and Casinova's on a medium. I mean, they've both been playing well, but I think it's worth the risk. And then we're going with Galbraith and Cadamartri up front. So overall, I think this is going to be a pretty good squad for us. There's a little bit of match sharpness lacking, but I think that won't be too much of a problem. It's important that we make use of our home advantage. Trust you to make a difference. And who's missing out? Edgerton or Cadamartri? Let's go for that striker role as well. Okay, this is actually my first game back properly because I'd done all the matches before I came back. So I'm very excited for this. We are lining up in a standard 4-3-1-2. And Arsenal have got a 4-3-3. That looks like pretty standard formation. Starting off the 3rd minute with an Aliu throw-in. Wing takes it down the line. Aliu looks to get a cross in. It's just coming inside. Oh, but he does give the ball away. And now Jabrin is on the counter-attack. Looks to run into a bit of trouble though. And Ari gets it back to Arigada. Okay, good dispossession by Rig. It's quite back and forth so far with no real chances being created. Galbraith isn't going to be able to do anything with that, but we managed to cut out the clearance. Galbraith running through their team quite comfortably here. Oh, deflected shot, and it was going wide anyway, but Hessian Harris collects relatively easily. Oh, Cadamartri's suffered a bruised shin. It does say he'll be able to play through it, so I'm going to give him a little bit longer. If he ends up struggling, I will bring him off. We have got a few good options on the bench, including Kevin O'Neill, but I might give Buster Barbrook a little run out. Is Aliu doing anything? No, he gets it back to Edgerton. It looks like he's going to lose the ball, but it doesn't. Gets it to Foyo instead. The giant passes to the child. Galbraith with a fantastic finish into the bottom corner. That came out of absolutely nowhere. Oh, he's offside. That defence splitting pass was beautiful. We've had a bit of time with that highlight now. We're up to the 30th minute. I'm just going to drop a quick... I'll drop a demand more. See if that what we can get out of the players with that. They all seem pretty delighted still. I mean, we have had all the highlights so far, and it's all been down that left side. But I don't want to change too much. Looks like we've got a Galbraith free kick. Is that a penalty? That is a penalty. Okay. 7 foot Edgerton got pushed over. I'm not going to complain at that. We haven't got Boyang on the pitch, so it looks like who's stepping up for this? Miles Harris puts it just inside the left post. Absolutely beautiful penalty, and 1-0. That sort of came out of nowhere. His first ever goal for Chelmsford Town. It's nice to see that commentary line on our side for once. It's normally when you get in FM'd, someone from the other team scores their first ever goal after being at the club for 16 years or something. And with that, it looks like we're going in at half-time 1-0 up. Fantastic. I mean, relatively uneventful second half. We only had 3 highlights, but not going to complain. Show everyone the recent praise is justified, and I think you can still improve up front. Everyone's happy. I'm not going to make the sub. Kadamachi seems to be completely fine. He's obviously ran off that injury. I didn't look at this screen on the half-time break. You know, Pert Harris and Aliu might end up going off in the second half, but I think we're good for now. If we get another goal, we might end up looking to take a few people off just to, you know, make sure there's no injuries, or no major injuries at least. Quite a start to the second half. I will say, luckily, strikers are relatively, you know, abundant in our team, decent strikers. So if Kadamachi does end up picking up a knock and being off for a week or so, it's not the end of the world, realistically. Okay, 65th minute, Winters go throw-in, as a few of our highlights seem to start at the moment. Foyo gets the ball back to O'Connor. He's going to go across, yep. Edgerton. Looking to go down the other side with Aliu. Can we get a cross in here? No, he gets cut out, but he's going to get the ball back. Put it out to wing, yep. And nice little cross in. Kadamachi at the back post. Headers it past Hesse and Harris in net. And Bailey Ty Kadamachi may well have secured this victory for us. That's exactly why we kept him on. Good little persistence from Aliu there. As soon as wing's coming in, you know there's a cross coming in at some point. And Kadamachi scores a header without even looking. Beautiful finish. With that 2-0, I am going to look to make a few subs. O'Connor's on a yellow. So I'm going to bring Wintersgill inside. We'll take O'Connor off for... Do I want to bring Rob on when he's aggressive? I might just go with Bailey, actually. You know, he's not as good, but I think he'll be good enough. Rig, I feel like I should leave out there because he's not had a bad game, but he's not really done much. Galbraith will take off for Barbrook. No, actually, you know what? Let's bring... Linwood hasn't played too much lately. We'll bring him off for Rig and we'll put him back there so Wing can go forward a bit more. Pert Harris, fuck it, you know what, let's just make a load of subs. We'll do that for now. That's 4 subs. I do want to save 1 for a bit later, just in case something goes a bit wrong. We're up on 10 minutes left. I'm going to leave it to 85 and we'll probably make our last substitution. Yep, right. Let's take off Chima Aliu. Aliu for Rob. I mean, Rob can't really play on that side too well, but it's 4 minutes just playing the same role, but on the other side. I think he should be okay. But yep, 4 minutes ahead of time. This is a relatively uneventful match. I do apologise for picking this one. Yeah, a nice comfortable win. I definitely thought that would be a bit tougher when Arsenal are the favourites for the competition. Well done, you helped with the midfield battle. There you go. Everyone's buzzing. Managed to bring that back. And Edgerton was named as player of the match. Did very well. Not good enough to, you know, be praised or anything, but still. And we are, when are Southend and Gillingham playing? That is actually not for another week, which is a little weird, but that's okay. We've got a couple of games before then, so we'll have to find out who we're going to be playing in the next episode. I think we're going to leave that one there. Apologies, it wasn't the most eventful of games, but a nice comfortable win is always nice to see. I'd like to say we'd be back at least once before we do the Southend game. In fact, let's make the next episode a double header. So we've got Bolton coming up, who are 3rd in the league, and you know what? I might even do the Arsenal game in the next one. I'll either do Arsenal or the Southend game. We might do the Southend game and then dedicate an episode to Arsenal. How about that? I don't know. We'll see how we feel. I'll let you know at the start of the next episode either way. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, maybe leave a like or comment down below. It really does help out a great deal, and it means a hell of a lot to me as well. I'm really enjoying being back into this game after such a long time off. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.